Hello everybody. I am going to check that everything looks good in the Facebook group here on my computer, but happy Monday. I am going to go over some housekeeping things and then we will get right into it. So bear with me a moment. Let's see. Good. Okay. Rachana, hi. Natasha, hi. Nadia, hi. Let me know that you guys can hear me okay, that the sound is okay before we get deeply into any of the teachings and into the training. Yes, looks good. Cool. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. And I do have the class pulled up, as I mentioned, on my laptop here. So if there's any questions or any clarifications or anything you want me to repeat, just let me know. And if you see me looking down, that's what I'll be looking at. And I'll make sure to keep glancing to make sure that everything is clear and that all of your questions are properly addressed. So before we get into it, the housekeeping. So I want to let you know that I will be going over a training each of the days, and feel free to take notes if it feels right. I have this visual here because it really helps me as I'm learning new topics and new concepts to ingrain it deeper into my psyche and embody it that much deeper when I have a visual in addition to an audio. So I wanted to provide that for you guys. So you can screenshot this if it's helpful or take notes on your own. I'll be adding a little bit more to the screen or to the whiteboard. And at the very end, I will take a photo after the masterclass has complete and I will upload that. So you'll have that in your resources. And then the second thing is that there will be homework after each training. And with the homework, it is of course optional, but I'm going to invite you and encourage you to do it because these lessons and the success of your business is going to be that much more profound and happen that much more quickly when you actively participate. So you and your business, you and your service, you and your purpose, you and your mission of what you're really here to do are in relationship. And the stronger that relationship is, the more you cultivate that relationship, like any relationship. Imagine you meet someone new and you like their vibe and you want to be in a stronger relationship with them. It takes time, it takes consistency, and it requires active participation. And so I will encourage you to participate in the homework, to participate in what I'm sharing on your own or in the group. And so I will go over the homework at the very end. And if you share your homework in the group with the group as a whole, then you will be entered to receive a free 45-minute coaching session with me. So there'll be 3 nights of homework, and each night of homework that you can submit in the group, in the private Facebook group, will be an individual entry. So you can submit your homework up to 3 times. So you have the opportunity to have 3 entries to win that free 45-minute coaching session with me. Okay? Is that clear? Let me make sure with any of the comments. Okay, hearing is good. Malwina says the connection is breaking up. Is the connection breaking up for anybody else? I'm going to give it just a moment before we dive deep into the training. Anyone else having connection trouble? I'm not seeing. No. Yes, but I switched the connection and it's better now. So I do know that we have individuals from all over the world here. So many different countries, many different continents. So, and we are on Facebook, and so check your individual Wi-Fi, and these will all be downloaded and recorded. And so I'll also have an individual link for you. Okay, so it seems like connection is good. So anyone having connection issues, try to refresh your page and allow it to buffer just a bit. I'll give it one more moment and then we will dive right in. No? Okay, cool. Perfect. Great. Okay, so we're going to get right into it now. So this is day 1. So there's 3 days, and if there's any questions about that housekeeping or any follow-ups that you want to reach out to me individually, feel free to do that as well. You can ping me on Messenger or shoot me an email. So today is day 1 of building your online business, of building your soul business, your purpose-driven business from the ground up, and how to get paying clients online. And so just a little bit of a background about me. So my name is Alexandra Trevison, and I am a chiropractor turned coach. And I played around with the term business coach for a while and spiritual entrepreneur coach for a while. And I've really landed on the title quantum coach, because what I do is so much more than just business, and so much more than just activating your spiritual gifts and your zone of genius and helping you make money. There is this understanding and this relationship with the quantum field. And if you have not done the pre-work, I would do that after this. If you're watching live, if you're on the replay, go ahead and press pause and go do the pre-work and then return back to this video, back to this training, because it's going to give you a bit of insight and a deeper understanding. It's very quick. It's like 2 90-second videos, very quick, and it's going to give you a better understanding of what the quantum field is and how you're in relationship with the quantum field. And so if you need more explanation on that, I'm happy to go into it briefly. And I have a lot of content, free content on this that you can watch at a later point. But the pre-work should give you a preliminary understanding of the quantum field. And so as a quantum coach, a self-identified quantum coach, what I help others do and what I help myself do is play in the quantum field. So co-create with higher intelligence, with higher power, with spirit, with source, with the intelligence all around us, in order to expedite our results by utilizing our energetic frequency, in addition to taking action in what I call the monopoly world. So I will be using these 2 terms, the quantum and world and the monopoly world, or the quantum field and the monopoly reality. And so the monopoly reality, monopoly world, is kind of what you see with your 5 senses. You can smell it, taste it, touch it, hear it, feel it, right? There's hard proof evidence in the monopoly world. And the quantum world is all invisible. We cannot see it. It's purely energetic. We can only feel it. So we can only tap into the quantum world with our higher faculties. So these are things like our will and our imagination and our perception and our intuition and our reason, right? So all of these higher faculties that we all possess as human beings must be completely and totally activated and turned on in order to play in the quantum field, because those faculties are invisible. They're not just our 5 senses that can sense the monopoly world. We have to tap into those higher God-given faculties, our higher consciousness, in order to play in the quantum world. And when we play in the quantum world, we're able to live out our purpose in a way that's not just looking good on paper, that's not just burning ourselves to the bone to get a result, but it feels good. The experience feels good. It feels empowering. It feels like a full body yes. It feels like a, oh my gosh, like there are profound sensations in your body that are coupled with massive results that you do see in the monopoly world. So this can be going viral. This can be filling out your first one-on-one container. This can be leading your first mastermind. This can be developing your first high ticket offer. This can be making 10K months. Your results in the monopoly world are whatever you desire your results to be. And I just wanted to make that preliminary distinction that we'll be speaking about the monopoly world and the quantum world. And in order to get the results that you want, that we want that massive impact. We want a lot of money. You'll see here money. We'll go into that in a moment. And we want wealth, we want abundance, we want visibility, we want service, we want to contribute to the greater good, we want to be on a mission and elevate the collective consciousness. All of those things happen in the monopoly world with everything that we can see, taste, feel, and touch when we know how to work with the quantum field. And so I didn't know this in the beginning. When I switched from chiropractic to coaching, I did everything in the monopoly world. I just sent a million emails a day and I did so much work, and I was working 2 jobs. I was working my chiro office and I was working my coaching on the side. I didn't even know what I was fully doing. I had a podcast. I was just saying yes and continuing to do what felt right, hiring coaches, joining masterminds, all of the things. And I got burnt out pretty quickly, and I was like, do I even want to do this? I'm confused. And what had me transition into a different career of helping people in a different way was really a lot of my own dissatisfaction with my career and my own overcoming my own dark night of the soul. And so a lot of mental health crisis, and not knowing what to do, and eventually coming home to spirituality, higher intelligence, law of attraction, and these really profound quantum principles that got me out of my own darkness, that got me out of my own crisis. But I was a chiropractor at this time, and I was actually in grad school, and I was like, well, I don't know how to incorporate this into my clinic, into my practice. How am I going to be talking about the divine when someone's like, I have low back pain? Like, I was very confused. And it just got to the point where I knew I could be helping people in such a more of a profound way. And I knew I could be contributing in such a bigger way. And I just knew I was on a different path. I was meant to be on a different path and experience a different type of life, that pushed me to eventually press play on taking action, on hiring my first coach, on doing the thing that felt right inside. But that was initially not using any of the quantum energies and understanding. It was all using like blood, sweat, and tears, and hustle and grind. And I'm not saying you don't have to hustle. There is a flow, aligned, inspired hustle that is part of building the thing. But basically, I hired all the coaches, did all of the things, flip-flop from blood, sweat, and tears, and hustling and grinding, all the way to just like relax and manifest and believe it and achieve it and do nothing, and went on both ends of the spectrum to finally create my own methodology that combines both sides of the coin. It's not all believe it and do nothing and receive, and it's not all hustle, 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 burn yourself out. It's a combination of both. And I hired all of these coaches, took all of these courses, and integrated what worked and left what didn't for you so that you don't have to. And so this is my signature protocol, technique, if you will, of what I wish I knew when I started, when I was still working my chiropractic business and was doing this on the side. I wish I had this formula to save me time to understand what it really took to get a business off the ground. And eventually that's what I did. I don't know what you guys know about my story, but I moved abroad. I was living abroad. I just recently got back in the States, ready for a little bit of that nesting, taking a break from that adventure mode. And now I'm teaching you guys how to do just that. Okay? So, perfect. Hey, Sarah. All right, so here we go. So there are 4 phases of a successful spiritual business. There are 4 phases, and they're right here. So these 4 phases are theory, embodiment, purpose, and money, okay? And I'm sure that you guys can read that. I know it's a bit far away, but I think it's legible. Yes, okay. So theory, embodiment, purpose, and money. And so I have taken courses and coaching on each of these individual topics, but no one has effectively combined them in a way to develop a comprehensive business plan, and that's what we're going to do. And so as a little intro, theory is what people will refer to as mindset or as manifesting or as paradigms. Bob Proctor talks about paradigms all the time. This is in the theory category, okay? So you might have hired like a manifesting coach or taken a mindset course, right? This is in the category of theory. And what theory is the understanding of the world, of business, of yourself, of how things operate, and what you actively and consciously subscribe to, and what you opt out of. And a lot of coaches teach this as rewriting your beliefs. And there's a piece of truth to that, but it's deeper than that. Because just rewriting my beliefs and doing affirmations didn't work for me. I had to go deeper than that. So this is theory. This is the energetic architecture that holds together your actual 1, 2, 3 business plan when you go to take action. So if you go to build a house, the framework of the house that holds it together, that you don't see when it's all together, that's theory. It's understanding what holds everything together. It's your paradigm, okay? And so our theory is what we know. This is how we use our mind to contribute to our business plan. Okay, so our theory is what we know. And I'm going to introduce you to the most supportive things to know. And you might have to code these in, program these in, and I'll help you with that. In order to have a successful business, in order to make money doing the thing that you really came here to do. We have to consciously subscribe and program in what we know, how to use our mind to help and support us in becoming successful, okay? Next is embodiment, okay? So embodiment, you've probably heard a lot of people say inner child healing or somatic experience or opening up the yoni and feminine practices or nervous system regulation, okay? So embodiment is how we feel in our body, okay? And so while theory is the mind and what we know, embodiment is the body and how we feel, okay? So not only do we have to have that integrity of the house that we're building with that framework, with the proper theory, embodiment, extending on this same analogy, would be decorating the house. Once the house is built and that framework is in and your theory is locked and loaded, now we can't have a stale house. We need the house to have a feeling to it, right? Is it going to feel modern? Is it going to feel cozy and vintage? What's the feel? We have to consciously take ownership of how we feel in our body, okay? And I'm going to go into details on this in a moment. Next is our purpose, okay? So our purpose is our service. It's who we're here to help, how we're here to help, the mission that we're really on deep down, and the message that we have for the world. So this is our soul. So while theory was our mind, while embodiment is our body, our purpose is what our soul must do. It's what we must do. It's our purpose, okay? So this is the doing. This is the taking action. But you see how the taking action comes after nailing in your theory and your embodiment. Okay, so this is our purpose. And then last is money. So money is a byproduct. Money is an after effect once you successfully dial in to the right parameter, your theory, your embodiment, and your purpose, which is what we're going to go over in this masterclass. Your money naturally happens. You naturally receive money when everything else is in line. That's like the cherry on top. And if you don't know, I have a free money group. It's called Debt, Money, and Wealth. And I go into trainings just specifically to heal your relationship with money. But know that money is a byproduct of having everything else in line. Okay, so these are the 4 phases of a successful spiritual business. Okay, when I say spiritual business, I mean you are here on a mission. You are here because your soul knows that you're here for big things. You've undergone your own hardship, obstacles, trauma. You've overcome it. you went through your healing phase, you're on the other side to where you've done the healing, you felt it. What do we do with it now? We naturally, this is in our bones, our DNA, we naturally want to help other people because we've carried ourselves through that and we can't unsee what we learned. And so now we want to go share that. That makes it spiritual. It's in our soul, right? And we want to create massive wealth doing that. Okay? So any questions on this section? Perfect timing for me. Yes. Dialing in my message and my genius. See it perfectly clearly. Amazing, amazing. Good. So we are going to go into way more detail, which is why I just want to make sure everything is landing before we go to the next level. Okay. So I am going to write this down to expand on this just a little bit, what I just said. So our theory is what we know. Our embodiment is who we be. So it's how we're being. You hear practitioners and facilitators like, it's not what you do, it's who you are when you do it, right? It's how you're being. That's the embodiment. So this is what your theory is what you know. Embodiment is how you be. Purpose is what you do. And money is what you have. So when you know the things that are supportive for your success, when you be and act and carry yourself in integrity with that, and then you do things in harmony with these two, then you naturally have money as a byproduct. Okay? So we're going to get into the 3 quantum laws that are going to help you set up your successful business. So we're going to go a little bit into theory today before we get into embodiment and purpose. Okay? And so the first law, and this is something that if you don't already wholeheartedly believe, we will work on this, is that the external world is a mirror of our internal world. Okay? So I would write that down. That's going to code it in your neural pathways, in your brain, in your body. It's going to program it into your system a little bit deeper. So the external world, the monopoly world, is a mirror of our internal world, of our relationship with the quantum. Okay? Okay, good. So our external world is a mirror of our internal world. And so we're going to go over here and look at this little visual. So if you did the pre-work, this will be a known visual for you. So this is you, and this little thing that I drew around it is the quantum field. So whatever you receive from the quantum field, whatever you experience with your 5 senses, is simply a reflection of what is happening in your internal world. So your internal world is you and you. And in order to have rock solid results in our external world, in our hands, in order to have the results that we want. So for business, we're probably going to say we want impact, right? We want visibility. We want more clients. We might want more followers. We might want more money. In order to receive those results from the quantum field, it has to be in harmony with what is happening in your inner world here. And so in order to have rock solid results on the external, we have to have a rock solid relationship internally. And so this is all about self-talk and what happens in your brain when you're brushing your teeth, when you're at the red light, when you're scrolling on your phone. What is happening internally? How are you in dialogue, in conversation with yourself? And you've probably heard this before. Our thoughts are 95% subconscious. So 95% of the time, we're not even aware of them. And 5% of the time, we are. And I'm going to give you an activity, an exercise that's going to help increase this consciousness. That's going to switch how we're carrying and talking to ourselves internally so that we're programming ourselves and sending out signals into the quantum field that are dialed for success instead of being scared of failure. And so the first step to do this is understanding that we have to separate ourselves into two people. We have to look at ourselves as two people. So before, you know how I said the monopoly world and the quantum world? So that's how I do it. I say my monopoly self and my quantum self. Some people can say my 2.0 version, that's your quantum, or my 1.0 version, that's my monopoly. Some other people say my goddess, right? And my inner child. Some people say my inner badass, my inner warrior, and my brain. You can separate yourself in whatever way works for you. But what you must do is identify the archetype of your quantum self. Okay, so your 2.0 self, the goddess, the warrior, the badass, the person that knows deep inside, the part of your soul that knows that you're born for more, that knows that you're meant to be in a different career path that's aligned with your zone of genius, that has you feel invigorated, fired up, unleashing, self-expressing, truly who you are, helping other people by doing that and getting paid to do so. Even if you have no results in the monopoly world of that, there's a piece of you inside that knows that. Who's that version for you? Who's that person for you? Pick a name, an archetype that works for you. I just say my quantum self. Sometimes I say my quantum twin. Okay? It doesn't matter what you say. It just has to feel correct for you. There's no right or wrong. You'll hear me say this a lot in my teachings. There's no right or wrong. It's what feels right for you within the context that I'm giving you. Okay? So listen to what feels correct. Like if you don't resonate with the term goddess, don't use it. If you don't resonate with the term badass, don't use it. Like I said quantum, say 2.0 self, high self, whatever. The point is, we have got to separate our identity into two pieces, because this is going to shift everything with the signals that you're sending out to the quantum field, and thereby influencing the results that you receive right here, right now. Because we want to win at the monopoly game, right? We want to have a following. We want to write a book. We want to talk on stages. Like, we want to do the monopoly things. But the monopoly things are a byproduct of taking ownership internally and how we communicate with that quantum field. So I know I'm getting a little esoteric here. Any clarifications before the next bit of this? Quantum twin, exactly. Yes, yes. Yep, my small self and my big self. Exactly. So, step one, create two versions of you. 1, 2. Okay? So after you create these two versions of you, it is our goal, it is our primary intention to make sure that we are attuning ourselves to the energy, to the frequency of success and opportunity, because all of the results that we want are on the frequency of success and opportunity. Whereas a lot of the times we have been pre-programmed subconsciously to be calibrated to the frequency of planning for worst case scenario, of doing damage control, of actually being calibrated to failure. And that's not what we want. And so every time we catch ourselves trying to figure out, what do I have to do to not fail? We have to recognize That's our 1.0 self. That's our monopoly self. That's our inner child. And then we have to consciously choose to become the quantum twin, to become our higher self, and talk in a certain dialect, in a certain discourse towards that 1.0 version of ourselves, towards that monopoly self. And this can happen when, you know, unexpected bills, or no one signs up for your live, or only one person signs up for the launch and then their payment failure doesn't go through, or all these things that are naturally going to arise as an entrepreneur, that are almost tests from the universe of, can you hold this level of success? But when we see the results with our 5 senses of it's not working and I'm not making any money, which will happen, to build your resilience as a leader, to cultivate your muscle of faith, we have got to put on the armor of our quantum self, of our higher self. So you've got to be in relationship with this higher version of you so that you know how to talk to the 1.0 version of you that wants to believe that it's not working based off of what you're seeing. And so a very, very easy way to do this is to recognize every single day when you show up for your business, when you show up online, when you host a workshop, when you work with a client, excuse me, where are you asking the question, it's not working, so what do I need to do to make it work? How many of you have been dialed into that vibe? It's not working, it's not working. Oh my gosh, so what do I need to do? What do I need to do to make it work? Do I need to go live more? Do I need to hire someone else? Do I need to read another book? Do I need to create a new offer? Like, it's not working. It's not working. So what do I need to do to make it work? And this is tricky because it masks itself as being productive, as putting in hours towards your purpose. But guess what? The theory is off and the embodiment is off. What you know, what you're saying that you know to yourself is it's not working. And then who you're being is someone that believes it's not working. So now what you're doing is things in order to make it work because you believe it's not working. Okay? So this is when 1.0 is in charge. When 1.0, when Monopoly Self is running the show, that's what the inner dialogue sounds like. Even if it's not word for word, that's the general vibe. So what we have to do is recognize this and catch it. And what we have to shift it into for our quantum self to put on the armor and go into battle and say, no, I'm not going into battle without any armor. I'm going to cloak myself in the most supportive thing possible. And that's going to be assuming it's working. How can I help more people? Assuming it's all working. How can I help more people? So that's going to shift your theory of what you know. You know it's working because your quantum self knows that it's working. Even if your monopoly self can't see it yet and is scared that it's not working, you're tapping into your quantum self. Your quantum self knows that it's working and says, how can we help more people? So now who you be is someone who wants to help more people and believes in themselves. And then what you do is you actively go try to help more people instead of you actively go and try to do damage control. Do you see the energetic difference in those two examples of self-talk? Yes, perfect. Okay, so reminder, we have to catch ourselves, always on the lookout for failure. Catch ourselves paying attention to, subscribing to, it's not working, so what do I have to do to make it work? And we have to flip it, and this is where having two inner identities is going to help you. We have to say, no, not today, 1.0 self. We have to say, okay, assuming it is working, how can I help more people? And that energetic shift is going to shift your preliminary theory of what you're subscribing to, of what you know to be true, even if it's you only know it in your soul and your heart of hearts and you don't have evidence yet. And then you take action from there, and you take action from a different energy, and then you get different results. Okay? So the next law that we need to subscribe to after our external world is simply a mirror of our internal world is that there is a law of polarity. Does anyone know this law? There is a law of polarity, and a law of polarity says whatever goes up must come down. If there's an open, then there's a closed, right? I have this little graph here. If there's a positive 10 that exists in the world, there's also a negative 10. So if you're in $10,000 of debt, there's also a reality that exists where you have positive $10,000 in your bank account. There's always an equal and an opposite reaction of every situation and experience. And how this applies to business, how this applies to expanding the theory and the energetic architecture that we're subscribing to in setting up a successful business is understanding that if we want more money and more clients, that means we also have to be able to take ownership for everything on the opposite end of that spectrum. So let's, for example, say more positive results might be, oh, you just signed a $20,000 client. Okay, the other side of that. Now we have to effectively create a plan, an action plan. We have to make sure to send proper calendar invites. We have to make sure to continue to hold space for this individual client and all of our other clients and create content and make sure that all this money coming in, are we tracking it? Are we seeing what we have spent in expenditures on our business and tracking that compared to revenue? How are we doing our taxes with this new type of money, right? It's the icky, crunchy, annoying side that comes with success, but there are two sides to every experience, and this can be understood through the law of polarity. And so I want you to understand that there's these false teachings out there that say you are resisting success or you're resisting money, right? And maybe to a degree you are, because you're not ready to be seen yet, and you're not ready to be vulnerable, and you're not ready to be, taking action, maybe. But if you're here, you're already taking enough action and showing up in a way to where if I was like, here's $100,000 and here's 2 million followers, you'd probably be like, let's go, I want to do this. So you're not resistant to success. You're not resistant to the positive side of the coin. What we're resistant to is the responsibility that is coupled with that is coupled with what success comes with. And that's the other side of the spectrum here. So if a positive 10 on this graph demonstrating the law of polarity is money, the negative side is all the to-dos that come with the money, all the responsibilities. And so we have got to be able to hold our responsibility in our business, in our life, in order to be able to receive more clients, to receive more money. And the very, very first place that we must take responsibility is how we are talking to ourselves and how we are talking to the quantum field. And so if you're at that point where you just actually can't even make any money in the business yet, not that you can't, you definitely can and you will, but you just haven't yet, that just means that you just haven't taken the very, very first level of responsibility. Because maybe you did set up your funnel, and maybe you did post content, and maybe you are doing check-ins with your clients or with your future clients. But what you didn't do, or what we didn't do, and I fell into this for the longest time, the very foundational place to take responsibility is taking responsibility for how we're talking to ourselves, how we're talking to the field, and what we are subscribing to as true. And so are we subscribing to the notion it's not working, what must I do to fix it? And if we are, how do we take responsibility for it? We recognize it and we notice it, and then we actively and consciously shift it to assuming that it's working, and what can I do to help more people? And I understand that this is more complicated than just being like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to shift it, because we have to account for trauma and we have to account for nervous system dysregulation, and that's the embodiment section, and I'll get to that at the end. But I want to just lay down the facts here so that you know the structure of what must be done, of where to take responsibility in order to start making money. And this can be as simple as the whole time you're doing your hair and makeup is, I'm good at making money. I'm someone who's good at making money. I'm someone who's good at making money. I'm someone who's good at making money. And programming that in. And I want to take this to the next level here, because it's not just affirmations. You don't even have to do affirmations. If it feels right, it feels right. But we have to understand when we take responsibility for how we talk to ourselves is dependent on the context of what we are experiencing. So what do I mean by that? Let me just check in and see if there's any. That's where I've been self-sabotaging for a while. Fear of responsibility. Yeah, exactly. How can we help more people? Yes, okay. So your intuition knows how you can help more people, although I'm going to get into way more details of how to actually show up online at the end of this and tomorrow. So this is really just laying the groundwork of how to understand, because I'm telling you, I did not learn this until probably 2.5 years after I started. And if I had learned this in the beginning, it would have saved me 2.5 years of hustling with minimal results. So what you do and how you reach more people and how you build an audience and all of that is only effective when we know this. And I know it's kind of counterintuitive and frustrating, because it's like, I just want to do the things. But you will do the things. But doing the things, doing all of your to-do list will be so much more powerful when you understand this concept. And so 1 is that our external world is a mirror of our internal world. 2 is the law of polarity. And we're going to get into 3 in a second. But how we combine these two, I'm going to just recap just a bit, is that we differentiate ourselves as two people, quantum and monopoly, 2.0, 1.0, whatever floats your boat. We acknowledge and become aware of where we are and when we are subscribing to, it's not working, how do I make it work? And then we flip it and say, it's working, how can I help more people? Okay? And by understanding that doing that is working with the law of polarity, because you are now taking responsibility for the most profound thing that you have the capacity to take responsibility for, which is your own energy. And when you take responsibility for your own energy, that's the first dial on the coin. Now you're at, oh, it's like I can handle my most intimate inner world, my inner experience. So the universe is going to be like, okay, well, here's $1,000. Good job. Let's see how much more you can do. How much more can you take responsibility? Now you're assuming it's working, right? And you're saying, how can I help more people? And you're showing up and you're doing it. And then something hits the fan. Something goes a little bit funky. Now how do you hold yourself, right? If you falter into the, oh, it's not working. Now what do I have to do? Okay, no, we're not ready to grow past the $1,000. We're going to stay there because they couldn't handle the next level of responsibility when the thing hit the fan. So if you view every single thing that goes wrong as an invitation for where you can take responsibility, you will make more money faster. And this is understanding the law of polarity and how our external world is a mirror of our internal world. So this is how these two work together. So I'm going to give you one more exercise before we go into the third law of how we can strengthen and have a rock solid internal world so that we can therefore have a rock solid external result. And this is understanding how to talk to ourselves depending on the context of what's going on. And this is what I alluded to earlier. And so let's just split our human experience, and be very basic here, and split it into a hard day and a good day. Because I also fell into the trap of, I have to be high vibe, everything, I have to be always having a good day in order to get a result. I have to be on the high flying disc, as Abraham would say. I have to be in the vortex. I have to be vibing, fist pumping in order to get that result, which is completely incomprehensive for acknowledging the human experience. So let's just split it up into having a hard day and having a good day. How you talk to yourself and you take responsibility in these two contexts are different. And this, I didn't learn this again until so late, and it would have saved me so much time. So you're saving so much time understanding this. So I want you to understand, when you're having a hard day, the goal for the theory you want to subscribe to what you want to consciously choose and know, is you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay on a hard day. But on a good day, when you are vibing, when you are in a good mood, you say, I got this, sky's the limit. I got this, sky's the limit. You see the difference of what you know to be true on a hard day and what you know to be true on a good day. What you know, the theory you are subscribing to on a hard day is you're going to be okay. And the theory and what you know to be true on a good day is I got this, sky's the limit. So let's take this a level deeper. When you're having a hard day, affirmations do not work, because when you're having a hard day, you are stuck in your Monopoly 1.0 self. You can't get out of the funk of believing the results that you see with your senses. It's just the line to the quantum is just closed off. The telephone pole is down. You just can't get the signal. You can only believe what you can see with your eyes. And that's okay. That's just a hard day. So when you're having a hard day, instead of affirmations, I want you to start talking to yourself by only using the term you. I want you to say, you're going to be okay. You're doing a good job. You're safe. You get to figure it out. You get to take your time. I want you to say you, because when you're doing that, you are calling back on this technique that we did of splitting yourself into two people, and you are calling on your quantum self to talk to your Monopoly self. You're using your 2.0 self and you're talking to your Monopoly self, because your Monopoly 1.0 self on a hard day is running the show. So you don't want to say affirmations when you're in your 1.0 self. You don't want to say, I'm a millionaire, because your Monopoly self is like, no, I'm not. Your Monopoly self is like, I'm broke. So when you're having a hard day, I want you to be tapped into the energy of, you got this. That's your fundamental baseline. And anytime you take ownership in your head, and when you're taking responsibility on a hard day, it's always by you using the term you, because it's your 2.0 self talking to your 1.0 self. You say, how do you feel? What do you need? And you listen to what's true and you follow suit. And then you say, you're going to be okay. Because there are hard days in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest things. So we have different tools on a hard day and on a good day. So on a good day, our quantum self is running the show. We remember who we are. We're vibing. We got this. Windows down. Just signed a new client. New idea. New content. New brand. So that's when you start saying, I got this, sky's the limit. And you start affirming what you know to be true. That's when you start saying, I am good at making money. I am really good at making money. I know how to make funny content. I know exactly what to do on social media. That's when you start affirming what you want to program yourself into, because you're in a receptive, energetic state to it. So where your questions on a hard day were, how do you feel and what do you need? Your questions on a good day when you're saying, I got this, is how can I serve? And how can I effectively show up creatively and express myself? Because when you're on a hard day, you have to put on your own oxygen mask first. And if you don't, the content, the action you take will be compromised. So that's why you have to say you. You have to attend to your own needs. On a hard day, you say, how do you feel? What do you need? And you say, you got this. On a good day, or excuse me, on a hard day, you say, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. On a good day, you say, how can I serve? How can I serve the people I'm really here to serve? How can I be of service? Now you can meet other people's needs because yours are met. You're having a good day. You can even switch a hard day into a good day after you meet your own needs. And then you're still on a good day. You say, how can I effectively, creatively show up and express myself, right? You get to be seen and be out there and create and be in your zone of genius. And then you say, I got this, sky's the limit. So this is how you take responsibility using the law of polarity for your internal world and your energy and your vibration to influence the results that you get in the external world. Are there any questions on that? I know that was a lot before we get into the third and final law. Any questions? Saying you instead of I is a pivotal shift. That changed the game for me. Love that you're using that. Yeah, exactly. Emotional authority is crucial for me to not be forcing myself exactly in the depth of the wave because there's so much wisdom being extracted. And I'm back up again. Yep. 100%. 100%. So we want to honor our own internal experience. And when we do that, we know how to shift back and remember who we are that much faster. And then we get results faster because we take more inspired action because our channel is more open. Okay, the third and the final law for today is first we have to tap into the invisible to make it visible. So now we're going to get into you and your message and your clients and taking action. So we have to tap into the invisible. This is the third law, the invisible before it is visible. So for example, let's say you want to reach more clients, more people. We have to tap in to the quantum energy of those people, of those clients, before they come into your reality, before they manifest in the monopoly world. We have to tap into the invisible field prior to them being right here, right now. You know this. This is having a vision, having an idea. Everything starts up in the invisible, right? Before anything was created, it was an idea. Before you even created your business, it was an idea. So before you find your clients and before you build your audience, you've got to tap into them. You've got to tap into the idea of them and build that relationship. Remember I said you're in a relationship with your business, and nurture it before it comes into the 3D reality that you can experience with your five senses, and you will. And so how we do this and how we understand this is going to be through our homework. And I know we did a lot of theory, we did a lot of quantum, we did a lot of understanding energetics today, but it is just so foundational for what we do next. So your homework, there's going to be 3 pieces to it, and then we're going to dive deep into actioning on the business. So your homework is to write out your story. And this is how we're going to tap into the invisible of your clients before they become visible for you. So your homework is to write your story. And I have all of my clients do this. All of my one-on-one clients do this. Your story is in 3 pieces. Your story, you have story A. This is when you were stuck in the Monopoly game. You didn't even know or subscribe or acknowledge spirit, higher power, higher intelligence, the quantum at all. It was all, it's your story A. This is the story where maybe we were subconsciously still really programmed and tapped into that victim consciousness. There was probably hardship, obstacles, trauma from any age. There were non-supportive behaviors, perhaps, non-supporting coping mechanisms. Maybe unhealthy ways that we carried ourselves, right? We might just dive into substances. It's part of my story. We might have just dove into unhealthy relationships to numb out some pain. We might have, just been binge watching TV and binge eating. The parts of our life where we were dealing with the pain inside that we did not know how to deal with in a way that wasn't fully supportive. We were just in the Monopoly game. So this is your story A. So I want you to write out your story A. And then that's your most important part of your story. I want you to go into as much detail as you can there and really what you've been through, really what your experience was. Family dynamics, self dynamics, school. You know what is naturally most burning for you. And then I want you to tap into your healing phase. So this is when you found spirituality, when you found God, when you found the thing that made you remember the healing, that made you remember who you really are, right? For some people, this is law of attraction. That was kind of my first gateway. For some people, this is breath work. For some people, this is going to therapy. For some people, something shifted, right? Something shifted, and this is your healing chapter. So you have story A, then you have your healing chapter, and then you have story B. So story B is where you're at now. So this one, you can just do a few bullet points, but story B, I want you to be in tune with and recognize, what do you believe now that you couldn't get behind in story A? What do you believe to be true now? What do you know in your bones because of what you went through, because of what you've seen, because of how you carried yourself, of how you've transformed? What do you have embodied wisdom leadership on now that you didn't in story A? What are your more supportive coping mechanisms? What's different now in story B compared to story A? For some people, this is really, really niche. For some people, this is just around like eating disorder stuff. For some people, this is around mental health stuff. For some people, this is around sisterhood wounds. For some people, this is inner child as a total. There's an infinite number of things this could be around. For some people, this is going from Western medicine to holistic medicine, right? So what is really fundamentally different in your story A and your story B? So that's the first piece of homework. You have 3 pieces. So story A, healing, story B. By doing this, we are tapping into the invisible of your energetic brand and of the community and the demographic that you're here to serve of your soulmate clients. Okay? So we're using the law to do this. After you write your story down, I want you to do something I call shaking. So I'm gonna drop a track, a YouTube track, so everyone has access if you don't have Spotify or something. It's a 10-minute song. If you have been in any of my containers, I do this every time. And I want you to shake your body like you're a maraca. And the only goal throughout the whole thing is to get into your body and out of your head. And so when you shake, so now we went over a lot of theory today. Now we're going to be talking embodiment. So embodiment is how you be, it's how you feel in your body. So shaking, what it does is it brings things from your nervous system, now that you kind of resurface some of that hardship that you went through in your story A that we just discussed. Now you're going to shake it out, and I want you to get weird. I'm just going to do a little mock demonstration here, but I do a lot of shaking like this. Sometimes if it's intense, I'm like this. You can be, there's no right or wrong way to do it. But the rule of thumb is listen to your body, allow it to be weird, allow it to be funky and uncomfortable. Your mind will be in the way a little bit. And it's 10 minutes, so after a few minutes, you're gonna release it, you're gonna let it go, and you're just gonna be in your body. And you're gonna clear all of that stuck old identities that's deep in your nervous system, that's attracting the experiences, or that's having you hold it onto this old self-talk that you can't seem to break out of. Because it's gonna bring it to the surface and you're gonna shake it out. It's gonna regulate your nervous system. And so this is what we call embodiment work. So how I was saying affirmations are incomplete before, that's because saying an affirmation without clearing and feeling the old emotion that has you believing the opposite, contrary to that affirmation will never land if you don't feel and move the energy of the stuck things inside that are telling you that money is hard, that are telling you that finding clients is hard, that are telling you that it's scary to show up online, that are telling you that you don't have what it takes. All of that is part of your story A, and we all have it, 100% of people, which is why we're here doing purpose work. And remember I said a lot of that is 95% in our subconscious, so we don't even notice, acknowledge, or recognize it because it's so deep down. The shaking brings it up, moves it, and clears it. Okay, so this is going to change how you're being. So now you know some new things here, the new laws, the new way of how you make money based off of these new principles. So now you got to be it. And in order to be it, to carry yourself in your bones, you got to feel and you got to release the old stuff. So shaking is a quick way to shift that. Okay, so 2 pieces of homework: write your story, do the shaking. I'll provide this all after as well. Last piece of homework is, now that your channel's a little bit more clear, now that you have really seen yourself in your story of what you've overcome, of how you've transformed, of how you are an embodied leader in your specific experience, and therefore that makes you and appoints you the leader of someone who is able to hold that sort of transformation for your clients, for your future clients, because hint, hint, your future clients are either stuck in story A, or they started their healing, but they haven't got to story B yet. I'm going to say that again for emphasis. So your soulmate clients are either stuck in story A, their details might be a little different, but the vibe's going to be the same. And that's why you're here to help carry them and remind them of who they are and nudge them to that next level. And so they're either stuck there, or they've started their healing journey, but it hasn't landed. They haven't found the right fit. They haven't found the recipe that works for them, or just isn't what they want, and they know deep down, and you have the medicine that they do want. So writing your story is extremely important for, one, understanding what you have accomplished yourself in your own experience and getting rid of imposter syndrome from that. And 2, you're tapping into the field of your soulmate client, because we must tap into the invisible before it becomes visible. So after you shake, after you've read that story, I want you to write a letter to your soulmate client and let it come out naturally. Let the letter have you seeing them, hearing them, witnessing them, validating where they are, but then reminding them of the core thing that you want to remind them. If you could remind your soulmate client and of all the people suffering of one thing, and it lands and they understand it and they receive it, what is that one thing? And I want you to infuse that in your letter, okay? So review for the homework. Write out your story. Story A, healing. Story B, shake. And then write your soulmate client letter and start to tune into the primary thing that you want to say to them. And we are going to use your story A, story B, in your healing, and your soulmate client letter to build on how to effectively show up online tomorrow. And we're going to add to our embodiment practice. Okay? So, I know that was a lot. Let me see what is going on here. Any questions, comments, concerns I will write out all of this so that you have a visual. I will take a picture of this as well, because I know that there were kind of like some mini tasks in here for you to do, which is understanding yourself as two people, understanding building a business, having 4 phases, understanding the 3 laws, what to do on a good day versus a hard day. We covered a lot. But a lot of it was theory, which is that phase 1. And so understand how foundational and powerful that is, because you can't build a mansion without strong architecture and framework. And that's what we did today. And that's why your homework is a little bit on the heftier side tonight. It won't be as much the next 2 days, because I need you to tap into you and your message and your story and your leadership and who you're really here to help, and shake out everything that says otherwise, so that now we can show up online being tapped into the right energetic signature of success, service, self-expression, and getting paid for all of that. Okay? So solidifying, same here, perfect timing. Yes, birthing your movement and brand. That's perfect, because literally the next 2 days we're going into building your brand and the movement that you're here to create. But this is, I'm telling you, actual gold. Even if you've heard it before, or if you've heard something similar, you cannot hear it enough, because we want to program this so deep into your psyche, into your knowingness, that it comes to you as fast as I say, what's 2 times 2? You immediately know 4. You literally don't have to think about it, because it's programmed into the depths of you. Because you programmed it in with those multiplication tables when we were younger. So understanding that the external world is a mirror of your internal world, we want that to be as quick as 2 times 2. The law of polarity, knowing that you don't resist success, what's resistant is responsibility, and then actively choosing to take responsibility, you're going to be as fast as 2 times 2. And then tapping in to the invisible every single time before it becomes visible, you're going to do that immediately. You're going to learn to tap in, speak to intuition, open your channel, tap into the field of your mission, your movement, your clients, your audience, and then you get the results. So even if some of this is familiar, you're here for a reason, and trust that. And this is just dialing it in that much deeper into your bones so that you know it as fast as 2 times 2. Okay? So, that is all for today. Tomorrow we will be back at the same time. So you will expect to receive an email with the summary of the homework, as well as in the private group, okay? If you have any questions at all, let me know. Message me, email me. I'm here. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, will be our second class. So remember, you're going to be okay, and you got this. Sky's the limit. I will see you tomorrow.